Imagine closing multiple six figures in commission every single year with clients that come directly to you for free, but it only takes 4 hours per week in order to do it. It sounds too good to be true, but that's exactly what our special guest Dale has done for himself. He went from being like most agents, hating prospecting, following up, always having to try and convert leads and working with nightmare clients, to becoming the #1 producer at the largest brokerage in his entire market, entirely free from YouTube. But here's the craziest part. All of the videos that he's recording are very easy to do, that require zero experience, that anybody can do, even if you're terrified of being in front of the camera. And so today, for the first time ever, I bring on Dale Abella, who breaks down his entire process of how he prepares his videos, what he does to do it in just 4 hours every single week in order to stay consistent, and all of the ninja tricks that he's learned along the way to go from being a struggling agent to the #1 producer at the largest independent brokerage in his market. So, two quick things before bringing on Dale. Number one, I will link Dale's YouTube channel below so that you can see it and use it as a reference point for yourself. And number two, I will link his calendar below, because if you followed my YouTube channel before, he's actually partners with Suman Kim, who did 87 deals in his first year from YouTube and broke $1 million in commission. And so if you would like to chat with them to get their help privately in order to launch and scale your YouTube channel that breaks six figures for free, then you can click that link in the description and book a private confidential Zoom call. But otherwise, let's bring on Dale and talk all things YouTube, how to make it simple, how to take massive action, and most importantly, how to break multiple six figures every year. All right, Dale, so super excited to have you on here, man, and to talk about your YouTube journey. Obviously, you're at the point now where, almost all of your business is coming from your content, and I think that's where the majority of people want to get to, but I know that it didn't just start out that way. So let's give yourself a bit of an introduction, who you are, where you're from, and we'll start diving into how you got to this point of basically printing, commission checks from your incredible YouTube channel.
Yes, yes. All right. Well, thank you for having me, Mike. This is such an honor. My real estate journey actually started 5 years ago. So I'm from Seattle, Washington. I moved out 2013. So I've been in Vegas for about 12 years now. So I started real estate in 2000 during the pandemic. I was working a corporate job. So I was a branch manager at Enterprise Rent a Car. I was doing that whole like it's very, very corporate company. You have to laugh at your boss's jokes to move up the ladder. They actually posted like career tips in every branch, and it said like a lot of really corny things. Like that was one of them. Laugh at your boss's jokes, and I was like, oh my gosh. Um, I think one thing that did it for me though too, why I hopped into real estate was because I tried to book a vacation with my wife like 6 months in advance, and my boss he denied it, and I told him like why it's like 6 months in advance, and then he mentioned that oh it's usually busy in July. You're trying to get promoted, right? So I think that was like the last straw almost. And at the same time, I have a friend from Seattle that also lived in Vegas as well. His name is Sean Guerrero. Really cool guy. He's always tried to get me to get into real estate. And at that time, he was working at EXP Realty, and he was telling me about EXP Realty and kind of like I should be more of an entrepreneur. He knows that I work hard. Um, so he was trying to do what he can, but I'm a very loyal person, so I was very like just loyal to my company, and I think at that time though too, because I'm like a 9 to 5 worker, right? You get really comfortable, and you're scared of change, right? So I think a lot of people who are going that route, um, they fear the unknown. But when the pandemic hit, I was actually studying for my real estate license at the same time, and my area manager knew that. So, this is during the pandemic. There was like nobody was renting any cars. They were just pulling out cars and piling them in parking lots, and they had to make cuts, right? So, even though like I was a really good employee, I had like exceed requirements in my last review. He knew that I was studying for my real estate license, so he let me go, which was like the biggest blessing because that's when I actually joined EXP. Um, I shadowed my buddy he taught me a lot of things. He was a really, really busy agent, but it was kind of tragic because during that time too, he was actually showing some homes. He caught COVID and he passed away in a matter of like 2 months. So at that time, I really didn't know. Uh, to be honest, like after that happened, I did most of my research on like YouTube, and then that's where found you, and I've been following you for such a long time. You have like the best content out there for realtors. Um, and I think I paid for one of your courses. I was looking to do like what was it? The Facebook ads, and at that time I was just really confused. Being a realtor is it's really tough because you think about a lot of things, right? You think about like marketing, but then it's like, okay, well, if I keep marketing and I get a deal, like what am I going to do? I don't even know the contracts. I don't know anything. So then I have to like learn the contracts. Um, there's just branding, right? There's just so many different like negotiating. So I think I was just really, really confused. Um, but I explored like all routes of marketing. So I did like door to door sale. I mean, I did door knocking. Um, I paid for ads, open homes, and then later on, I found YouTube. That's how it really started. So
Yeah, that's a crazy journey, man. And I think again, you and I have a very similar path in terms of I was also corporate, and realized that this isn't gonna give me the lifestyle that I've always wanted, and ended up making a transition. And it's really cool that you did that during 2020, and all that chaos going on. But one of the things people are always curious about is, why YouTube? Of all the different avenues, knowing that everything works if you do the work, what specifically kind of made you lock in on YouTube as a platform to say, I'm going to go all in on this?
yeah, it's a great question. So so I got my license 2020, like yeah, mid pandemic. And I wanted to be more comfortable with like new construction homes, right? Because there's Las Vegas is a growing city. There's new construction literally everywhere. And I just didn't know too much. And, I felt like, let me just go on YouTube and just check out, find out more information, some of these new construction homes. And when I went on YouTube, I noticed there was like 4 or 5 realtors that just has these channels where they tour new construction homes. They're the most consistent, and they also have like a lot of subscribers too, right? But I was looking at their engagement, and they have a lot of um, I feel like their comments was just full of leads. Like they're just asking about oh, like, can you give me more information? And the agent would just give them their phone number. I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like, they're just like touring these homes. Like, I mean, I wasn't really thinking about too much of it. I was just looking at it. It's like, okay, just like touring new construction homes. So, the end of 2020, I was like, you know what? I have to make it a thing. I'm gonna do YouTube, like, and then I'm gonna do YouTube. I'm gonna do what these guys do. Like, that's what I'm gonna do for my business. What's funny is 2021 hit, and I didn't make a single video, like none. And that was my goal for that new year. But I think it was like I was way too in my head, right? Do I have the right equipment? Do I have all the information? Also, I think one thing that scared me too was these 5 realtors that I've been really consistent with it. Uh, they seemed very knowledgeable. Like when they were doing like the new construction tours, they would say exactly like how much upgrades were, and like what the standard features are, what the upgraded features are. And I think I was a little intimidated because I was just like, man, my videos might not do too well. People are going to know that these people are like the experts, right? So that whole year 2021, I made no videos. And one of the biggest things about myself is if I don't hit a goal, it it stays in me. Like I just it's just yelling at me, and I feel like I can't really live with myself, right? Like it's just I feel really bad about it. So the end of 2021, I said the first day of 2022, I'm just gonna go out there with my iPhone, with my gimbal, and I'm just gonna start recording, right? Like I don't even know that much about the new construction, that specific home. I just have to start. right? I just got to get started and I'll figure everything out later. So the first day of 2022, I recorded my first video. I was at the community for hours. I was trying to work on my hook, and I kept messing it up, and people kept walking past me like, "Oh, like what is this guy doing?" Right? Um, and I was just, I remember at that very moment too, right? In my head, I have so much anxiety. My palms were like sweaty, and because I was just doing something I'm very unfamiliar with, right? And a part of me wanted to turn back and just say, you know what, like screw this, like I'm not, like this is not for me. But then the other part of me was just like, Dale, if you just push through this moment right now and just record the video, I promise you it will get easier, right? So I just finished the video. We upload it. My wife kind of helped me like edit it, right? So we post this one video, and it's crazy because I didn't even know my wife posted the video. I got a call 3 days later, and this doesn't happen to everybody, right? This was just I got a call 3 days later. Somebody watched my video from Abu Dhabi, and they're just like, "Hey, I'm an investor. I saw your video. Can you help me with a purchase?" And I was like, "Wow! Like this is the power of YouTube. Like this is they didn't even ask me like how long I've been in the business or like interview me, anything like that. It was just like a hot lead, right? And
Hmm.
I spoke to them, and I think at that moment I told my wife like we have to double down on this thing. Like this is it. I've done the circle dialing, farming, open houses, but I've never had somebody reach out to me and just say, "Hey, like I want to use you." Like that was very eye opening. So yeah, it was at that moment where we doubled down, and like YouTube was the answer.
Yeah, man, that's there's so many important takeaways there. Like I think the first thing people need to be really mindful of is making that commitment.
Mhm.
You're never going to succeed on any platform, let alone YouTube, if you dabble. If you just say I'm going to try it. And the fact that you came into that new year and you're just saying I'm going to rip the band-aid off and I'm committing to this, I'm doing this, is where most people don't even start. And then I think the next thing that's really powerful that I hope people take away is the fact that you kinda had that internal dialogue, not really saying, "I'm gonna be amazing," just saying, "The next video will be easier. It's gonna get easier from here," right? Is the next video will be
Yes.
better, a little bit better, a little bit better. I think a lot of people have this tendency based on similar to you, other agents that have years of experience on camera, they kind of put themselves in this, unfortunate situation where they have convinced themselves that their first video has to look like their other competition's 200th video and not really giving themselves the grace that you did to just say, "Hey, I got to get through this first one. And if I do, it'll get easier, it'll get better, and I'll keep going." And, also just looking at that, I think that really interesting inflection point of being able to say, okay, clearly this works, and now I'm going to double down. I'm going to go all in on this because now you've been able to get to that point where you've scaled, but you made it a priority. And most people never get to that point because they treat it almost like a side hustle instead of going all in on it.
Right. Yes,
So I
that's true.
think, for most people, that's where they get stumped, and I wanna get into the tactical, but I think the first part is just helping people realize, like, now looking at your production and the insane amount of business that you're doing, helping people understand that, like, back in the beginning, your palms were sweating, you were nervous, you were hesitant, you were making mistakes, and I think a lot of people have this tendency to see, like, okay, now they see your content where you're confident and, you're just crushing it, and assume that it just started that way, it just came easy, and I think we both know that that's not the case.
That's yeah, definitely. And I hear a lot of agents. I try to help agents with their YouTube and stuff like that. Um, immediately they just say, "Oh, this is not for me," right? And it's like, how do you know,
Yeah.
right? And they talk about, well, I don't. That's just not me. I'm not a video person, but neither was I. Like before real estate, I remember like I barely took pictures. Like my Instagram, I think I probably uploaded a photo once every 5, 6 months. Like I like to watch Instagram, but I just never like to take any photos, let alone video. Video was scary for me.
Hmm.
I think that's why I was at that community for so long. But it was just at that moment I was facing my fear, and there's in my head, I just knew there was a better version of Dale on the other side. I just had to get there. So a lot of times when I hear agents say like, "That's not for me," or I just it could be like you
Yeah.
just have to like push through that barrier. It's scary for sure, like because I remember that day of just so much anxiety, and but you'll never know unless you push that barrier and you just do it, and then just know that everything, the more you do it, it'll definitely be easier. Just kind of like riding a bike, right? So it's like you could do all the amount of research to ride a bike, but you'll never get it on your that first hop, right? It's just like
Dude.
you have to just hop on it, and then you just have to keep like failing and failing, but then you keep, hopping back up. So
Yeah, it was exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, the first time that I went door knocking, I was petrified to knock that first door. And then after I
mhm,
knocked the first door, and it was a genuinely nice human on the other side, and I didn't get told to F off or I didn't have a dog chasing after me, I'm like, okay, well, that wasn't that bad. And then you knock the next one and they're not home. And then you knock the next one and it's another nice person. And you've built up all this internal anxiety that
right.
most time doesn't even exist. And also, I think, you said something very critical before we get into the tactical, which is that you had belief. And I think
Mhm,
that's where most people fall short, is that they've discounted themselves before they've even gotten started. Like, you had the belief that it's gonna get better. It's kind of like using your analogy of riding a bike. When you
mhm,
get started, you have that inherent belief that at some point you're going to be able to ride this bike. You haven't just said, bike riding's not for me, right? It's like people,
right,
as a kid, you're not, crawling and then suddenly being like, hey, walking just ain't for me. I'm not gonna, I fell a couple times. I ain't gonna do this walking thing, right?
right,
It's like,
right,
okay, you believe you can ride that bike. So when you have that belief, when you fall a couple of times, that belief is so strong that you keep going. I think a lot of people, again, are giving themselves these labels of saying, I'm not techie, I'm introverted, I'm not in front of the camera, I'm scared of it, it's not for me, as an excuse because they haven't created any belief. And I think if people actually believed in themselves, they
mhm,
would not run into those situations. But, you know, let's kind of go tactical for a second here because I
okay,
know people are going to be curious about, okay, now I've made the commitment. YouTube is going to be where I'm going to go. I'm going to go all in. But people have a tendency to run into a couple of issues. What equipment should I use? Also, what does the workflow look like? Because we all know that time management is what most people struggle with. And they say, well, I don't have time for that. Or, what should I use for editing? How do I get in touch with builders? When do I record the videos? How do I know what to say? Like, for you to kind of sit down in that beginning phase as you were growing and say, okay, here's the equipment I'm using, and here's what my week looks like to be consistent with content. Like, take us through that journey.
right, right. Okay, um, so I mentioned like 2021, right? I just felt like I didn't have the right equipment. Maybe I needed a super fancy camera, all of that. Till this day, actually, I have it right here. I just use this gimbal and my cell phone. Like
Yeah.
that's literally everything I need, that I've used since I've done my first video and up till now. The only thing that I do different is I have like a drone, so I'll take more drone footage, right?
Mm,
But even when I first started doing it, my iPhone wasn't the newest iPhone. Like it was just it was a couple of generations old. So I mean, as far as people thinking that they don't have like how do you find time for that? Well, honestly, as busy as I get, marketing and finding time to you do YouTube is super super important. Like no matter how busy anybody gets, you have to really focus on your marketing. But back when I first started doing it, I would because it took me a little bit longer. I was probably at a community for maybe like 3 or 4 hours. So like anytime you go to a new construction community, there'll be maybe like 2 or 3 model homes, right? So it used to take me a while. Luckily, I have my wife. She kind of helps me out right now. She does the drone footage. She'll do some B-roll. But I actually don't spend too much time these days recording. I'll have a video come out every other day, but I only record maybe 3 hours of the week, right? And this is
Hmm.
how I do that. I uh, I go to a new construction community. Sometimes it'll have 2 or 3 model homes. I'll record those 2 or 3 model homes. It'll be 10 to 15 minutes of video, and then right after that, I'll record my hooks. My wife will do like B rolls. If she's not with me, I'll do B rolls. There's this part in the video where I give like the community information, and I'm in and out of there. If it's 3 model homes, I'll be out of there in like two hours, right? But those 3 videos, that's enough content for like the week, because I'll post
Hmm.
one on Monday, I'll post one on Wednesday, and then I'll post one on Friday. So if I could go to 2 communities, let's say maybe like 4 hours of my week, but that's enough content for like a week and a half, right? So back then I didn't have a video editor, right? So it took a little bit longer to get it onto YouTube, but now I definitely do. And one thing that I always recommend is, because I know a lot of people like to do it themselves as well, right? They wanted to take control of the editing. Um, I feel like time is so important, right? So there was that one book, like Who Not How, right? Have
Yeah.
you heard of the
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So once I read that book, I'm just like, man, like I need to find out like who can do this. And luckily there's a lot of virtual assistants that are some pretty good video editors, right?
Hmm.
So I think for the first year in 2022, I let me see here. 2022, that's when we were just kind of editing the videos. I was posting a video a week, right? 2023 was more so very consistent. It was like at least 2 or 3 videos a week, but that's when we had a video editor. So, um, my advice though too for somebody looking for a video editor is like I use a site called myonlineph.com. So it lets you
Hmm.
connect with like a VA. You could put a job post. I would recommend being extremely descriptive. Like the requirements have to be like you can't just say video editor. You have to say like, you need experience doing YouTube videos, real estate specific, this and that. I mean, you're still going to have a lot of people that apply. But one thing that I thought was pretty clever that I did is I had over 120 applications when I was looking for a video editor, and I couldn't. There was no way I could come back to. There's no way I could respond to like 20 of them, like 115 of them, right? So I responded back to all of them, and I said, for serious considerations, make me a 30-second reel and start it off with Dale. These are the 3 reasons why you should hire me, and then kind of have it like, like a nice little edit. So
Yeah.
only at that point there was like 10 or 15 people that sent me those videos, and I chose the best one. And yeah, now that I have video editor, it's smooth. Uh, but yeah, I people watch my videos. My clients are just like, "Are you recording like all day?" I'm like, "No, I'm literally like 3 hours."
Yeah.
So
100%, man. Well,
yeah,
and yeah, like you're always going to make time for your priorities, like you talked about. It's not a matter of finding, where are you going to find the time? We're all busy, right? And as you
right.
start to build momentum, you have to make the time because you're never just going to find it, right? We all have 24 hours in a day,
Mhm.
and we get busy, and so making that a priority, a lot of people once they start getting busy, they stop doing the activities that got them busy, and then when the pipeline dries up, they got nothing. And so it's important to be able to keep that consistency. Um, but one of the things that I think gets asked the most, and I've never really heard anybody properly explain this. You identify these model homes, and so okay, I know that I'm going to go film these 3 new construction properties. How do you prepare for that? And where I'm going with this is most people struggle and say, okay, I'm in a market, there's new developments, I'm ready to go. What the heck do I say? And they have no idea what they should be saying in the property tour. And so for you going and say, okay, here's the next property tour that I'm going to go record,
Mhm.
like how are you preparing for that? What are you reading? What are you looking up? How do you know what to say? When you're going to say it? Like what's that process look like for you?
That's a great question. So what I try to present to my in my videos is I want to give them information. I want to give my viewers information because a lot of them are not from Vegas and they're watching my videos and they don't know anything about the community or the home. So what I'll always do is I'll ask for basic information. So, like sometimes, so when I go to a new build community, right, I'll ask for their floor plans, right? So I'll see their floor plans. I'll ask for their included feature sheets. So it'll say what's included in the house and what's not. So that way, when I'm doing the tour, I could kind of read it off. But then I'll also ask like four other questions, right? If there's an HOA, I said, what's the HOA and what does it cover, right? And then I'll ask, what's the average lot square footage? Because I know people care about like the backyards and the lots, right? Um, and then I'll also ask, questions like, so I know, buyers obviously upgrade. How much would do buyers usually put in upgrades, right? Like on average, right? So that's something I could say in my video. So that way, because there's a lot of like viewers that are just like, yeah, well, like how much are upgrades going to be, right? So I feel like it's really important for me to say like how much the average upgrades are, like what else is important. The lot premium, builders always charge lot premiums, right? So I'll ask for the lot premium information, and that's pretty much it. Like some of those core things, I don't. To be honest, people don't have to know so much more about the house and give all the factual information. I mean, you'll get better with that over time. More people will care more about like the tour itself. They just want to see it, right? And you don't have to. Again, when I first started, I was intimidated because all these other agents, they knew everything and I knew nothing. But I just went in there and I was just recording. I would just randomly say what I knew about the house, like, oh, okay, this is an upgraded 9 foot ceilings because I knew that. Um, and no, that's about it. But one thing that I could tell you for sure is after doing YouTube, people really resonate with your character more so.
Mhm.
They're not a lot of them don't look for that like expert, right? Like everybody connects with somebody specific. And I heard you one time say like a long, long time ago where you mentioned that there's always a person out there. There's always a person out there that's waiting for somebody like you to be on video, right?
Mhm.
When you said that, that really, I don't know why, like I've never forgot it. Like it was just that actually gave me the confidence to kind of do YouTube because I was just like, you know what, I might not be the expert, but
Yeah.
I'll just, people will be drawn to me or who I am, right? So yeah, no, you played a huge part, Mike.
I appreciate that, dude. Well, now look at you, top producing agent in the entire brokerage for your state. It's crazy.
For
But none
sure.
of that would happen if you never got started.
Yes, yes. But but yeah, as far as like what to ask for, just I would think about it in a buyer's perspective, right? Like what do they need to know about this new community that if they were buying from out of town, like uh what's the important things? It doesn't have to be a long list. It could even be five, right? Like five
Mm.
things. Like, how much are the upgrades? Um, what are the lot premiums? What do the HOA cover? Like what's close to the area, start off with that, but the more and more you do it, you incorporate more things and you become more detailed, right? But it's all about starting.
Yeah.
So
100%. No, I love that, dude. That's so powerful, and I think that's really important. Where a lot of people kind of go in with this perfectionist mentality of all this pressure that again is completely self inflicted. Like just like you say, like the average person doesn't need when they go to watch those videos. The deciding factor as to whether or not they reach out to the agent is not because they said the perfect, location that quartz countertop came from and every technical spec. They're
uh-huh.
like, "Hey, can I resonate with this person?" Right? Like people just want to work with somebody that they align with, and they're like, "Yeah, I would enjoy spending time with this person and having their help to buy or sell my next property." That's it. And I
That
think a
is.
lot of people just overwhelm themselves with all of these perceived issues that don't actually exist when you're actually in the game. You think that that's the case, but then once you get started and you get a call 3 days after your first video and
Mhm.
you're like, "Wow, that video wasn't even that great, but somebody reached out." You
Yeah.
kind of give yourself a bit more grace and say, "Okay, maybe there is a couple of people out here that just like who I am and how I present this content."
Yeah, that's for sure. And even in the beginning, even till now, like I mess up all the time. But it's funny when my viewers correct me on it because like I'll rewatch my videos sometimes and say, I'll point at the refrigerator and say, "Oh, this washer and dryer is included," right? And sometimes they'll just make a comment or they'll say something, but it's okay. Like you can make mistakes. It's fine. They'll connect with you. And again, like
Yeah.
you said, there's somebody for everybody, right? So like people will just connect with yeah, people connect with all different personalities, but I feel like a lot of these agents, they won't know until they put themselves on video for them to actually see, you know? Because there's a lot of people that would like their service, but they're not there. They can't see them.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And, you know, another thing that people are always curious about is conversion. So, walk us through that process in the sense of, um, do you find most people are calling you? Are they emailing you? Are they texting you? And once there's some sort of contact, are you getting on a Zoom call to vet these people? Like, what does the entire process look like for you from how they're getting in touch with you to the point of an actual client?
Yeah, so they actually there's several different ways they get a hold of me actually. One on my YouTube, I have like a type form. Sometimes they fill that out. I would say maybe 20% will fill out that type form and they'll give me all their information and it has a questionnaire like when are they looking to buy? What's your price point? Are you pre-approved? Um, a lot of them actually reach out to me on Instagram just because I put my Instagram info on there. So when they see me on YouTube, they immediately follow me on Instagram and then they message me. Um, but I would say 60% of the times they'll just call me or text me.
Mhm.
Yeah, they just call me, text me, and then we'll get on a call. One thing I'm working on doing, I should be getting on a Zoom call with them, but wherever. Sometimes I'll just pick up wherever I'm at. Sometimes I'm across town, and I'll just like call them really quick. So a lot of times it's on the phone that I'll speak to them.
Yeah. Yeah,
hmm
that makes sense. And I think, you know, that's important for people is to communicate with people how you want to be communicated with. And because I know, like, for example, like there's some females in our group that don't want to put their phone number out there for, you know, obvious reasons because of the type of people that, you know, get a hold of that phone number. And so for
Right.
them, you know, they will do like Zoom call only, or they will do like email only, and just making sure that you're guiding people in the direction of what's going to be comfortable for you, but also convenient for the person on the other side.
Right, that definitely makes sense. And my wife was actually talking to me about that the other day too, because now she actually just got her she just got onboarded to EXP like 2 days ago,
Mhm.
and her account's on private, right? Her Instagram, and she was just like, that's a whole other aspect. Like I don't even think about for
Yeah.
women, right? Because
Yep.
now she's just like, will people just like I don't want people to just randomly follow me or like call me or just like know where I'm at, right?
Yeah.
Um, so definitely I could see that.
100%. No, I think it's great what you've done, man, and you know, I think one of the last things that I'd really like for you to dive into is, you know, either A, mistakes, or B, best practices and recommendations for somebody looking to get started. Because there are going to be people that watch this, and maybe this is that video that tips them over the edge to finally take action and to start to build momentum. And, you know, you're now sitting on the other side of that fear and that self doubt and that anxiety, you
Mhm.
know, as an incredible top producer where I think, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm assuming at this point you even have fun recording your content at some points compared to the alternatives of cold calling, door knocking, and, you know, setting up flyers. And so for that, you know, agent that's looking to take that plunge, any piece of advice that you could give that person?
Yeah, so definitely I know it's harder said than done, but it's just to think less and just go for it, right? And also too, don't think automatically because you don't like it or you're just not comfortable with it that it's not for you, because I'm here today to tell you that I was like that too, and I had so much anxiety, I had so much fear, and you just have to know, like, understand that if you just get past that initial, like, feeling of being uncomfortable and you just keep pushing, like, slowly pushing, it's gonna feel like like pushing a boulder, right? And then every effort, you're putting every effort into it and it's like barely moving. But there's going to be a time that that boulder is just, you're going to go over a hill and it's just going to keep rolling, right? So if I never, now that I look back at it, from my first time I took the video when I had so much anxiety, and there was that other Dale that said, "Just go back home. This is not for you." If I listened to that Dale, I would have not been where I am today. Like my
Mhm.
that event, that specific time of that day changed like the course of my life, right? And I feel like a lot of agents will be put into that type of situation. You just can't turn back. Like you just keep pushing forward. I promise you, you're gonna come out a better person. Somebody that you're gonna be so proud of, and somebody that you might be shocked, to be honest. But again, if being comfortable, it's really easy to be uncomfortable, but you just have to know that, if you want a comfortable life, then you probably won't get the results that you want. So
Yeah, dude, I couldn't agree more. Couldn't have said it better. And I think that's why I'd love to pull this full circle together by chatting with the fact that obviously now you and I are partners, and you help people with their own YouTube channel. And the craziest part is you are Suman Kim's partner, and a lot of people on my channel look up to Suman Kim and what he's been able to do, and the fact that you've been able to follow such a similar trajectory where he's the top agent on YouTube in Austin, you're the top, agent on YouTube in Nevada,
mhm,
and being able to just build so much credible momentum to get the three of us to help somebody launch their channel, scale their channel, and give them the blueprint for free is insane. So I always
it's
like to wrap
powerful.
up with, you know, what can people expect when deciding to partner with you, knowing that you, me, and Suman are now partners at EXP together? What can people expect?
Oh my gosh. So people can expect a lot of value, to be honest with you. Like even just EXP is a great brokerage with a lot of training just in general, but the fact that like all the value that the Wolfpack adds, like because when I recently just got transferred to the Wolfpack, I was going through your videos. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is like thousands of dollars, like more worth of value, literally training on every single video. So it's really mind blowing. Mike, you do a terrific job with Wolfpack and everything. So
Thank you.
definitely kudos to you. But yeah, anybody looking to join Wolfpack, you're in Las Vegas. You have me here again. I have I have I've done what it takes for sure with as far as the social media, and I do offer like my mentorship. I've been through the difficult times, and you know, I came uh, I came on top, and I have the backing with Suman and Mike. Like you guys are just huge, legendary, like icons for sure, for sure. So no, definitely. If anybody's confused as whether to which brokerage to choose from and like what type of value that they're gonna get, like with us, Wolfpack, like anything is possible. So much training.
100%, dude. Well,
Hmm.
and that's where, I think most people fall short, is knowing that you're the average of the five people you surround yourself with. And I see all these agents that have massive potential with their content, but they're at a brokerage where nobody else is doing content. So when they get stuck, they have no one to bounce ideas off. They have no one to tell them exactly what to do, what changes to make, how to get more leads, how to get more engagement, and they're by themselves on an island. And when you see what
Yeah.
happens over here, when people are able to align with three people that have done it at the highest level and continue to do it at the highest level,
Hmm.
and are financially incentivized to help somebody win for free. That's why I always tell people, like, if you're looking to build that business where 100% of your clients come to you for free based on you being you and having fun while doing it, um, there's a decision to make, and you have three people that will pour into every single week to help you get there. So
For
um,
sure.
it's
There's a
incredible,
reason why
dude.
there's so many heavy hitters in the Wolfpack, though. Like it's just, Mike, you've done again incredible job with the programs, everything that you do. So
Appreciate that, brother. Well, dude,
Yeah.
it's an honor to have you in the family now. And again, I
Thank
couldn't be
you.
more excited to not only see where your channel grows, especially with your wife now partnering with you and bringing that female dynamic, but also the lives that you're able to impact and the people that decide to take this partnership opportunity to align with us. It's going to be exciting, dude.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Like my wife and I were so excited joining the Wolfpack. Like I think we celebrated like 2 nights. Like we just we went to go eat at a nice restaurant. I think we did it again the next day. We are just like, yeah, I'm definitely glad to be here. So,
Hell yeah, man. Well, your family now, and we couldn't be more grateful to have you here. Guys, I'm going to link all of Dale's incredible content below. Make sure you check it out. Go support him, give him some love, and also book that conversation, right? The most expensive thing you can own is a closed mind. Might not be for you, it might be for you, but the worst thing you could do is not explore this opportunity, especially if you're looking to scale with YouTube. So, Dale, thanks so much again for sharing everything, brother.
thank you. Thank you.
All right, guys, take care. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.